All right, welcome to DenverScript July 2024. Welcome. We have a code of conduct here. We want everyone to feel happy in the good place. So DenverScript is dedicated to providing a harassment-free community for everyone. Participants violating these rules may be sanctioned or expelled from the community and at the discretion of the DenverScript organizers. If you're being harassed or notice that someone else is being harassed or have any other concerns, please contact a DenverScript organizer immediately. That would be me, CJ, Cass back there, Marlena, who set out the bomb spread. Make sure everyone's having a good time. There's some ground rules we have. Be kind, don't be a jerk. Do not talk over the organizers or speakers. We want to be able to get everyone's attention when we need to. And during the Q&A, ask constructive questions. Don't try to get the speaker with a gotcha or I'm smarter than you. Just be a good person. And we're live on DenverScript Meetup on YouTube. You can also watch this back later on if you wanted to watch a talk again. And when asking questions, be sure to get the mic from one of us. We have this spatula mic. It's our signature spatula mic. And you can use that so that the speakers can pick you up and the live stream can pick up your questions if you have questions. Thanks to our sponsors, Code Talent, which is this building that we are in. They are a technical talent agency. They can help you if you're looking for a job, so please reach out to them if you're looking for a job and you want to get some help. There's some friendly people. And jam.dev, which sponsored the food for us today. They've been our sponsor for a couple months now, so thank you. Shout out to jam.dev. And we're always looking for more sponsors. We don't want to put all the pressure on everyone. So if you know anyone, if your company wants to hire, or if you're secretly rich and you want to let us know, that would be great. DenverScript@gmail.com. And we're looking for speakers. If you want to have a talk, if you're a first-time talker or a seasoned talker, we can have you. Anything JavaScript related. And if you need help putting together a talk, we've all got experience in doing that, so we're happy to help you. If you want some one-on-one help or something like that, let us know. And today, we're going to show our JS news with Cass.
Thank you. All right. Just going to pull up our news. Okay, so I'm going to go through news fairly quickly because we've got some stellar talks, and I want to get to those talks. Yeah, I'm stoked, so let's do it. A couple of items in news. It looks like we've got let in Angular, with the @ sign. Read this if you're into Angular in any way. This new syntax will basically make it so that you can define variables in a template, so that's kind of cool. And then there are new set methods for JavaScript, so maybe, there we go. These were accepted into the specification. Browsers probably aren't prepared for this at the moment, but eventually. Take a look at this, and you can find all of this on the website, by the way. DenverScript.com, there's like a little link up in the nav bar to access the news. But check out these new methods that you might be interested in for all your set needs. Let's see. So I added a header here for like upcoming, noteworthy, new tech that has maybe been rumbling in the Reddit scene or news scene or whatever. We've got, I want to call it Poku, but I always pronounce things wrong, so maybe it's Paku, I don't know. But this is the new test runner. Their kind of goal is to have you be writing more JavaScript-y tests. Removing complexities in boilerplate. Will that be how it works? I don't know. Try it and let me know. React Flow, which I think we've actually heard about before, but people were rumbling about it again, probably a new release. Basically, if you need to maybe make like an interactive diagram that's like node-based, so you've got like little tendrils with little nodes on the ends, this would probably be a tool that you might want to use. Termino is a component that you can use if you want some like animations or games or any kind of app that looks like a terminal. It's kind of slick. kind of niche, but I don't know, maybe it's something you need. And then Tinybase is like a new data store that you might be interested in. So check those out. I'm also doing something a little strange today. Usually we have a list of conferences. And I thought, you know what? I want to know what conferences you all are going to attend, either virtually or in person. It could be in the next month, or it could be 6 months from now. Anybody attending any conferences? Yeah, let's hear it. Ooh. Perfect. Yeah, open source event happening this Sunday. And where is that at? Ooh, in Denver. Awesome. That sounds incredible. So, yeah, we are in Denver. We could easily go to that, y'all. Any others? Yes.
JS Nation is happening in New York in November.
In November, JS Nation is happening, and CJ will be talking and emceeing. Woo! So if you're interested, New York is a little plane ride away.
It's a two-day thing, so the day after that is React Summit, and it's at the same venue. They have like a package deal if you want to be there.
So for our live stream, React Summit is right after JS Nation. It's like a package thing potentially if you would like. So if you're interested in JavaScript and React, that could be fun. You can attend virtually as well. And I will say, if you are currently unemployed and you are like, I can't afford to go to a conference, I highly recommend you just reach out to those organizers. They probably have at least a set number of tickets that they can give out for free. They might have already given them out, but it doesn't hurt to ask if you're wanting to get into a conference for networking or whatever else. And then I did see a hand back in the back again, but maybe not. Okay. Awesome. Those are exciting. If you think of any others, I just encourage you to find a pal to go with, or maybe invite someone. It could be someone you've never met, but it's nice to have a buddy at these events. And then I also just want to encourage you all to submit talks to conferences. Like, even if you've never spoken before, if you've got any kind of idea or you even feel the need to give a talk, you should submit something. And if you need ideas, hit one of us up. We're happy to help you generate ideas and generate a talk proposal. Awesome. But yeah, that upcoming open source conference sounds really great. Oh, yeah. Oh, yay. Posted in the meetup. Thank you so much, Stellar. Very great. Okay, and then real quick, I'll just hit on some releases. It looks like we've got some updates for Angular, Astro, Bun, Dino, Electron, ESLint, HTMX, Jotai, Node, bunch of other stuff that I didn't include. These are just some of the major ones that I noticed. If you're interested in more details, all of these link out to the explicit release notes. So you can just hit the DenverScript page, hit the news page, and find out what was added in that new release. Cool. Any questions about news or conferences? All right, I'm going to hand it back over to Ched.
All right, one more thing I forgot to ask. Is anyone hiring? All right, who's looking for jobs? All right. Just talk amongst yourselves. That's as far as we go from there. Okay, our first talk is going to be, we're ready to go into the talk, right? I didn't forget anything else. We're ready to go into the talk? Okay. For 1 or 2 minute break. We're going to set up for the first talk, and then I'll announce them. right, everyone. First up, we've got Blueprint Hooks for the Backend by Stephen Wexler.
Hey guys, oh, a little bit loud. So I, for the last couple of months, even maybe a bit longer than that, I had a little passion project that I wasn't intending on sharing, but now I'm excited to share it, and you guys will be the first people that I'm sharing with, so we'll see how it goes. Basically what it is it's a reimagined way to think about the web server. And it uses principles that have kind of been popularized in React and other front-end tools that are global state and reactivity. So we'll see how it goes. So first, what is this Blueprint thing? It's just an open source server. It can be run as Express middleware or a standalone web server. And the main benefits are that it syncs state between your front end and your back end, and it allows you to program just like you're programming in a React app using reactivity. So the code snippet here is server code, even though it looks like React front-end code. Basically, you have your things that look like hooks, things that look like state, and it all just kind of works under the covers. So what I'd love for you guys to take away from this is if you like Blueprint, that's great, go ahead and use it, but honestly, a fantastic exercise that I experienced from this is just using this really great pattern of stores and global state to communicate better and more clearly amongst different components is just such a productive and valuable way to use it outside of React. And then reactive programming, just using it outside of these front-end technologies has been really, really helpful to write simpler and clearer and better code. So. Basically, what this problem or what this server is trying to do is it's trying to solve this problem about how you manage asynchronous data. And asynchronous data is always easy at first until it's not. So we'll take a look at a really simple task app that has your tasks like your to-do lists and your users, and we'll just kind of use this as an application to explain how what was once easy all of a sudden became hard. So when I am loading my tasks at the left, it's pretty simple to start. You've got a use effect if you're using React, and you usually will write a function that is like fetch tasks and then set the tasks, not difficult. But then you probably should add some caching in. So you'll probably wrap your service layer with a cache, and still not very difficult. But then you'll realize you have a dependency. If your users change, well then maybe the owner of the task name, owner of the task change. For example, in here, if I change Bert to have a different name, then my task table should update. So now I have a second fetch task, which is in that second use effect. And by the way, I need to invalidate the cache because one of my dependencies updated. And then what if I want to add a task? Then I need to fetch tasks again. And again, in isolation, not that difficult, but it's just another place where you need to keep track of your tasks. And then what if I want to edit a task? Then I have to do it again. I have to keep track of it. And ultimately, and there's lots of different ways that on the front end, I'm sure that you all in your code bases, how you have gone around this problem, but what I've seen in a lot of React code bases is you're fetching similar data in multiple places in your code base, and you have to look through your UI code to find where you're fetching that data. Again, like not terribly impactful, it's harder to keep in your mind, but it really becomes impactful when you want to build a new feature, like search. And all of a sudden, your fetch tasks needs to respect search. So if you programmed it this way and you're fetching tasks inside of your reactive code, inside of React, you need to just make sure everything is using search. There are other ways around it, but basically the point here is that things can become difficult quickly once you get a little bit of complexity. And what I tried to do with Blueprint was kind of reimagine this whole architecture of having these really fantastic reactive programming ways and global state, and instead just see what happens if we applied those same principles to the back end. And ultimately, what we get is this. So this is, and I know you won't believe me yet because I need to show you how it's actually working, but this is what the tasks component looks like. You have your tasks, you subscribe to your tasks using this use tasks, what I call hook, and it renders. And then your add task component only cares about adding the task. And then your edit task only cares about editing the task. And the reason why we'll find this is all possible is because when you can move state, like state accessibility and reactivity backwards, then you can kind of put all of your things that are loading data and having to reload data and manage dependencies in one centralized place, which is your server code. And this is the server code for Blueprint that accomplishes the same thing as what a typical stack would be. So basically what's happening here is we've got our users, we've got a way to keep track of the new task that's going to be added. We've got a way to run an effect, aka what we all kind of think of as a post right now, of saving that task to the database. And then same with edit, same pattern. We have a way to keep track of what we're editing, a way to save it to the database. But then most importantly, we have our tasks when we're reloading it, because we have reactivity and access to global state. What we can say here is, I want to run this query anytime the user changes, anytime a new task is added, anytime a new task is updated. And then going back to implementing search, what we do is we say, great, like all we care about is we load tasks when search changes. So one place, it listens to search, and I have created a new state here for search. And that's basically at a high level how Blueprint works. So I will jump into, I guess, a live coding session because I think we have time. Cool. All right, so how is this? Uh-oh, let's see if I can zoom out. Okay, cool. So this is a task app. I should refresh it because I'm not sure if everything's working. Okay, great. So when I am running this task, or this application, something that's really important is when this owner Ernie changes, when I edit Ernie, what should happen is, of course, in the users table, Ernie updates, but then in the task table, Ernie updates also. So we'll see this, great, Ernie updated, and we're good to go. So the question is, how does that actually happen in real Blueprint code? Let's see if I can find it. And this is, I didn't have a chance to make the exact same example, so this is a bit more of a complicated example. There's more than just users, yada, yada, yada. But basically what you have here in tasks is tasks has a trigger, is triggered when the users change. And the users change is an event right here, which is in the same file. Sorry for clicking around. And the users change event is triggered on the success of a updated user. So I can write my user code, and then I can just hook it up to my tasks, and then tasks reload, and you can have two developers working on totally different things, and then hopefully not have too many merge conflicts when you're updating kind of your dependencies. Yeah, and then let's say we wanted to build search. So let's do live coding. Hopefully this goes well. Great, so I've got search here. Now, search is a dependent, or I want task to be dependent on search. If you all are RxJS fans, I put the $ there because I'm a RxJS user, and that's a convention of RxJS. Great, so I've got my, that's the backend, so it's done. And what I have here is, just to kind of go back over it, is I have now my tasks, and my task is now dependent on search, and it's a function because we are trying as much as possible to look like React and feel similar rather than all this extra layer of endpoints, and it's just a function that takes in a parameter and runs a SQL query. So then, a little bit of boilerplate code, which should be removed in the next version, but basically I have to add search to tell everyone that search is now part of my state. Then on the front end, what I can do here, and I probably should have checked that everything worked, but hopefully it all does, is, great. My app name happens to be called Dashboard, not a particularly good name. My state name is search, and now I can use search. So then in my tasks, I can come here, I'll minimize this. Cool. And I hope I get my material UI stuff right. Awesome. Is that right? We'll see. And if I did everything right, that's the code that you write to implement search in my app. So let's refresh. Cool. It looks like it's working. I don't have anything in my search box right now. So if I type, what did I do wrong? Let's put a little console log in here. And if this fails, I have a stash. So I can just stash pop and we can see it all working. Cool. Great, so it looks like it is working. I probably have something wrong with my SQL query I'm gonna fix really quickly. But we have our search here, so our SQL query should be filtering down to this. And maybe I'm just typing in the wrong where. Let's try this. Great. Okay, so I think I still have something wrong with my SQL query, but does anyone see it?
Is it the I like? I've never seen that. It's just like.
Just what?
Just like.
Great. All right, let's resort to the stash, which I promise is basically the same code. let's see what I got wrong with this. Oh, shoot, I missed the parentheses. God. Or the, cool. Yeah, so that is it. And that's how Blueprint works. And then going back to some of my learnings, I know like this is a really cool tool for some of you, but for others who aren't going to use this, the biggest takeaways for me were, one, if you can get away from the normal habits of what I kind of consider dated practices and get more towards global state that makes communication across your components, across your code easier, and reactivity, which makes coordination much easier, you can go from literally dozens of lines of code to 2 or 3. And yeah, that's my takeaway from Blueprint. So hope you like it.
All right, hello, testing, hello. All right, so we got some time for some questions. I have the first one, I'm going first. Is there any dependencies for this? Did I miss that?
Yeah, it's dependent right now on Express. It's very easy to put it in as middleware as Next.js. If anyone's interested, I can easily get it in. There's a couple others like Koa, if anyone is still using that. I don't think anyone actually is. And then the other dependency is RxJS. All of this is built on top of RxJS, which if you haven't used it is a fantastic, but like high learning curve library for reactivity.
This is really cool. Thanks for sharing, by the way. I was just curious what your initial inspiration was for writing this.
So basically, when I was trying to work on another project, I was trying to build a project that would describe the architecture of a web application, like using code. And what I found was the architecture was like unnecessarily complex. And so I just decided to use reactive programming concepts to literally reduce the architecture, because that's what we saw on the front end in the 2010s, and I think that's what we can see on the full stack in the 2020s.
Sure, very cool.
Anyone else? All right.
Thanks. So one of the things that I think is really cool is how I'm intrigued by the idea of handling caching in terms of dependencies, like in a dependency array. That's really cool, and I think it could simplify that quite a bit. How easy do you think that would be to make pluggable with other caching solutions? Like, I'm assuming, I don't know much about Express because I haven't used it too much, but I'm assuming that your cache functionality comes from Express. I'm curious as to what it would look like if it was coming from something else.
It's actually, it's not coming from Express. It's like coming from this pattern of, like, I wrote 0 code related to caching. And I basically got all caching for free because when everything is built off of dependencies, then you get caching for free, because if a dependency changes, then you realize you need to change something. But if you're trying to refresh that data and the dependency didn't change, then, well, the data already exists, so you're good to go. And what's happening under the covers for this is it's just using RxJS's functions that basically understand when a dependency is updated, and if a dependency hasn't updated, then it just will store that information for as long as you'd like. So, long story short, yes, it's very portable, and RxJS is the library I'm using under the covers.
Thank you. No other questions? Oh, okay, now they're all popping up.
Okay, so obviously this is really powerful where there's a lot of dependencies and where that can create complexity. I really like this example. For those of us like thinking about where else this could apply, what are some other examples you've come across where, like real world examples where we might also see a lot of complex dependencies? Or I'm also curious from anyone here if there's examples you've run into where that's been an issue.
Yeah, so basically it's like if the real world examples are when you have 2 or 3 at least components that are loading similar data or dependent data. A classic example might be like, I don't know, a stock app tracker. You've got your stocks that are uploading here and then your gains and losses that are uploading over there. Or a fantasy football tracker where like the games are happening live and they need to propagate the scores elsewhere to other components. Another one might be a chat, anything really that has data dependencies where you just have multiple components that just need to update.
All right, I believe I saw one more question on this side.
I guess my question is, so I'm just trying to understand it. So you have a dependency graph, and that's the main thing that is shared between the front end and the back end, and when a dependency on either side updates, it sends a ping via, what, WebSocket or something?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
literally exactly what's happening, except you have either server-side events or WebSockets, depending on which
Okay.
method you want to use.
Sure. All right.
Thank you, Stephen. Claps, everybody. Take a few more minutes to get set up, and then we'll be back for Drew.